As the first Breath of Fire game I've played, I bought a PlayStation Store port of it on my PlayStation 3 shortly after being introduced to the series by online conversations. Granted, I procrastinated from beating Breath of Fire 4 for years, but then used my latest account to rebuy the PlayStation Store port and replay it from scratch. Though it's the series' fourth numerical entry, the game has its plot take place prior to the other three installments, as you take control of an amnesiac Ryu Bateson, accompanied by Nina, Cray, and other characters in a quest to save humanity from destruction by an emperor that has a narratively deep relationship to Ryu Bateson himself. Breath of Fire 4 recycles the series' tradition of isometric overhead action-adventure gameplay, albeit in the context of a mix between 3D areas and 2D characters. In-game navigation is performed in the context of a relatively liberal camera, while combat is performed in the context of turn-based sequences, like the Final Fantasy series. Like its predecessors in the series, the in-game world has a mixture of influence by both European and Asian folklore. In the context of navigation, you can interact towards CPU-controlled characters and objects, gain knowledge about the surrounding in-game world, and earn clues on how to progress the story. Per playable character, there are field skills that are to be used for destruction of obstacles and puzzle solving in the context of navigation. In the context of turn-based combat sequences, the player will have a maximum of 3 characters at the front row and a maximum of 3 reserve characters in the back row. Whereas the front row has characters do the fighting for you and thus have them directly affected by combat, the back row has a passive role that can replenish health or magic for invulnerable reserve characters. Strategically, you can switch front row and back row characters. During battle sequences, you have freedom to choose in which order a character will perform an action. A combat sequence is complete when every CPU on-screen opponent is defeated or when you have no playable character left alive. If you complete a battle sequence, experience points will be provided per character to help them level up, which in turn statistically boosts them and unlocks more skills. An in-game innovation is the combo system, where extra damage and other effects can be performed when particular spells and skills are used in a precise order. For example, using 2 variations of the same element could produce a stronger variation of that element, or you can mix 2 attacks based on 2 separate elements to produce a stronger attack. Finally, combos can also manifest in the context of singular attacks that otherwise have multiple effects. This game brings back the village building feature from Breath of Fire 3, and the series' overall traditional minigame of fish hunting. Like its predecessors, there are side quests irrelevant to the in-game story, but can provide extra goods to the player. Recycled from Breath of Fire 3, the Master System permits the player to customize their characters by giving them apprenticeship under a variety of masters who in turn will grant extra skills and unique statistical boosts to your characters if you complete particular tasks. From both a story perspective and gameplay perspective, Breath of Fire 4 provided me a good introduction to the series. As a video gamer of mixed European and Arab background, the in-game world provided me a cultural click analogous to the first Assassin's Creed video game. Breath of Fire 4 was an ideal way to break what was previously a personal hiatus from playing isometric overhead action-adventure video games, and gave me a quick refill of turn-based combat gameplay. The final battle is a unique trade-off that gives you the choice between fighting the Emperor or fighting as the Emperor himself. If you fight the Emperor and defeat him, the video game's true ending will be earned, but if you play as the Emperor and defeat the heroes, you will receive the video game's hypothetical what-if ending. As soon as I completed the final battle in the old-fashioned way, I beat Breath of Fire 4 for the first time and sat down for a while in self-pride as I watched the true ending played out in front of me, but the experience was worth it.